and we just go with it. Whatever it is you feel comfortable speaking on, we chime in, and we can just different topics. If you want, we can ADHD. We can just bounce around if need be. It's to us, it doesn't matter. It's just whatever you feel comfortable sharing, and some of the feedback that we got from folks is it's a good start to their week. So, floor is yours, man. But RJ will obviously kick it off. Um, we'll touch on a little bit about how we're feeling, maybe a little bit about what we got planned. Probably share if we're a little stressed out or what have you, but then introduce you and just run with it.
Word.
Yeah. So, yeah. So you guys' relationship is a lot tighter. You guys know each other more. So RJ may do a lot more leading here, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
I don't
This
know.
question.
You always come with these questions and you're like, I need to get all these out. And then I'll let you talk, RJ, I promise. But wait, I got 3 more that I got to ask before, which is okay. Which is okay. You come with really good questions. So
scroll. You know what I want? I think I'm actually going to buy one. I'm going to see if Amazon, I'm pretty sure Amazon has it. The feather ink or whatever you call them, the ink pen, feather pen, whatever. I want to buy one of those.
Can do some calligraphy.
He's going to do some kanji.
Indeed. You need to stop playing, RJ, and buy the show, man. That game is fun.
Well, Knockout City is double XP weekend, and we have not played at all.
I have not played this weekend. Jeez. I'm at level 60.
I'm going to be in the basement all day today because my AC went out yesterday, so that's really cool.
Oh, no.
I like unexpected expenses.
Oh, jeez.
Especially in this heat. The hottest summer in years, and the AC goes out. Morning, Jenny.
Of course it does. Good morning, Jenny. Sounds good.
Yep.
Got to get some streaming.
Run in some game. Ad quick, and then we'll come back.
I don't have time later today to play any games, but
you'll be super
late tonight, man. I got 7 days, man, until the book comes out. I got to reread it again. I gotta get it right. Just my nerves.
I need to put it out. I was reading the chapter head titles, and I was like, okay, this is one of those things that needs to be right here, right now.
Yeah, it's gonna be released on Amazon and self-published, but yeah, so I'll see how it goes. At the end of the day, I wanted to do it for myself, my child. Oh, okay, we sounded pretty good. Nice. Gotta get that.
So I came home to this picture, which is the expensive frame on the ground, and the corner right on this side is busted out, glass broken. I was like, oh my God, of course.
It fell naturally, or
yeah,
or did I was gonna say
they didn't.
The boys.
The nail was bent down a little bit because it's just in drywall. There's nothing on the back side of it, so that doesn't help things. And I was like, oh, that stinks.
That nice Mona Lisa portrait.
Yeah. Transistor. You gotta listen to it, man, or play that game. It's a good game.
Oh wait, did you even understand what I was saying?
The Mona Lisa? I assumed you were making fun of the painting.
No. One of your boys writing on the wall.
Oh yeah, making their Mona Lisa.
Their Mona Lisa with the
I think it was Inari, but I can't be completely sure because Inari came up to me with a crayon.
Oh no! You gotta save it.
Got to.
it adds value to the house when you sell.
Oh, dude, there's 5 ads. That's brutal.
It should be over.
I'm only on 2, but I think I started.
Yeah, so like putting the ads at the front, that gives us a half an hour where people can join, and they don't have any ads when they join. So
Nice.
that's why
Mm.
I put so many at the front. Then there's a 10-minute cooldown, and I don't run ads the rest of the show. So after a half hour, then people come in, they end up getting an ad. But oh, he's gone. Yes. Oh no.
He's still here.
Oh, there he is. Okay. Oof. I was getting scared there for a second. All right,
Nah,
everybody ready?
I wipe my nose. Yep.
Welcome and thank you for tapping into some Untapped Keg. I am RJ Zimmerman here with my good friend Monte Ball. How you doing, guy?
Ooh, I'm good. I'm good. A very tiresome weekend. Being outside in a golf tournament and then going to the trampoline place with the boys. I'm just not in shape anymore, so I don't understand how I did it, but I'm exhausted. But all is well at my end. How are you doing, man?
You know what? I was pretty good until last night we realized that our air conditioner went out, and it's like unexpected expenses. Yes, for the
Nice.
win. So that's fun. So I'm gonna be in the basement a lot, even though it's not much cooler down here now, which is crazy. Usually in the middle of summer, you need a sweatshirt to be down here, but
Nice. But man, that's good to hear. But we got a guest. We got a guest today who we're excited to have on. RJ, I will let you introduce this person who is very close to you, man.
yep. So it's my former roommate, good friend, the only person that we could have that feels right after Dan the Man is the Danimal Yogurt, Mr. Dan Clark. How you doing, sir? Thank you for joining us.
I'm doing good, man. I'm very honored to be here. Long time listener, so
Appreciate that, man.
I'm pretty excited to be
We
here.
really appreciate that. Yeah, man, it's an honor for us, man, because you don't have to do this. Um, Sunday morning people sometimes like to sleep in or probably at the farmer's market or something early in the morning, beating the sun before the sun really gets hot during the day. But we appreciate you taking the time to join us, man, and it's pretty awesome. You guys have known each other for quite some time, huh?
I first met, and I put that in quotes. He was introduced to me as Roger, so I always call him Roger. Everyone else calls him RJ, so it always feels weird. But I think I first met him in 2010 through
Sounds
Xbox,
right.
actually. So
Through Xbox.
Yes.
well, yeah.
Through
Oh,
our mutual friend Cody,
oh,
who
okay. I thought
sometimes
this was
pops in here.
okay. I got you. I thought this was one of those, which I love those stories where you play with some random person on live or what have you for years and years, and you
Yeah.
finally meet and you become like best friends. They become your best man at your wedding, and so that's some pretty cool stuff. But how you feeling? How you feeling today, Dan?
I'm good. I'm good. Little worn out this week. This heat, I tell you, it's
Ooh,
rough, but
Brutal.
we're getting there.
And
indeed.
it's unfortunately it's going to be here for another week at least. So probably the whole summer is going to be 85 plus because we're
Oh,
not even in the middle of June and it's 85 plus. Uh,
what's your
so,
perfect weather, RJ? And then I want Danimal's perfect weather too.
so mine's a little cooler. Mine is at about 68 to 70, like right in there, and
Okay.
partly sunny.
Okay, Danimal, what you got?
I'm gonna have to say something similar. I like a little bit of warm wetness, if that makes sense. Where I was born is very cloudy and rainy most of the year, and I think that affects it. So I do like a little overcast. I like a little sun, and as soon as I start to sweat, I'm like, that's enough. That's enough of that.
Yeah.
I'm low 60s, maybe 59 to 63, 64. It's perfect for me.
I like that too. That's a good one because I like wearing like a long sleeve t-shirt and you're good,
Right.
right?
Yep. You can wear shorts, you can wear jeans, you can wear sweater, or you can wear a t-shirt, all the above. But anyways, let's go ahead and dive right into it. Somebody in the chat, Jenny in the chat says, "Oh, it's the yogurt man." Yes, indeed it is.
The legend.
Yes.
Indeed it is.
I mean, for those who haven't been around, we have Dan has been on before. He's been on our video game episodes because he's somewhat of a video game expert. He's very tuned in. So let's start this off along those lines. Have you been paying attention to E3, Dan?
I've been paying a little attention to E3. The things that I have been paying attention to have mostly been disappointing because I want more information and they don't give it to us.
Is it Borderlands
related?
Borderland?
I was hoping for some Tiny Tina's stuff.
Let's get some context here real quick. What's E3 again, RJ, for those who may not know?
It's the Electronic Entertainment Expo, and it's basically video game Super Bowl. Well, I mean, it's the Super Bowl week leading up to the Super Bowl because, you know, it is usually a week long, and usually there's game announcements, there's demos and everything in between. So it's usually it's a really fun time. Sundays are generally when it gets really, really good, which is obviously today. So you have Xbox, Bethesda, you have Square Enix. Could have some pretty cool stuff that comes out. So
absolutely.
Announced, not really comes out.
So Danimal, what is it that you're looking for?
Well, I wanted more Borderlands information. And I set myself up for failure because I know that there's some games that I'm not going to get information on, but I still kind of hope that they give us stuff because it's E3. I mean, come on. But like I was hoping for some stuff from Bungie, talking more about their expansion that's coming out. They pushed it back to 2022 now. So again, knew that I wasn't going to get much information, but still crossing my fingers.
Still could.
It still could.
That's it's, you know, I haven't really watched much of it. I've been just bogged down. But I did see some news that came out. I don't know if they announced it, but I did see that the Splinter Cell series is coming out, I think. No, excuse me. I think that might have been actually IGN or whatever, but the Avatar video game.
Yeah.
I did see that. Did you guys see that?
That was announced, yeah.
That's right. Yeah, my apologies there. The Avatar game, I'm most definitely gonna have to check that out. If they make Pandora as expansive as it is in the movie, I gotta play it. Gotta get into that.
I'm excited for what we saw from Elden Ring, but that's like super deep in the weeds. I mean, it's similar to Bloodborne, from the same makers of Bloodborne, and I talked about that game quite a bit on the show. But that it could be fun. It could be not up my alley. We'll see. But I'm excited. This is an exciting time of year. I mean, anytime you have these crazy announcements come out, what I'm looking forward to, and I hope we see more of, is that Ninja Turtle game that's coming out that we're gonna end up streaming co-op, and I hope that it's like cross-platform co-op. That would be sweet. So that's gonna be a lot of fun. It goes back to like the old games. But all right, leaving that nice little warm up there. Dan, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Danimal, where'd that come from?
Well, I can tell you where it originally came from when I was a freshman in high school. One of the seniors on the track / cross country team started calling me Danimal, because they gave everyone nicknames. That was just kind of the thing. When you came in, everyone got a nickname, and it was based on something. And so mine was the Danimal because I was a 14-year-old kid, and I was running as hard as I could all the time, never took an easy day, and I ended up being pretty good. And so they started calling me the Danimal because I would do workouts that were meant to be little easy workouts, and I was trying to win them. Not probably the smartest choice, but I was always trying to win. So that's kind of where that came from.
Heck yeah, that's actually pretty. That's pretty awesome, actually. By the way, I remember in the weight room and stuff, and you would see the young cats just grinding away and just keeping their head down, just grinding. I loved seeing that stuff. So Danimal, Dan, the animal, yogurt.
The Danimal, not the animal. The
Danimal. The Danimal, excuse me.
And of course, I
Um,
hijacked it and I took it and threw a little spin on it. Wasn't that? I
Yeah.
think that was. When was that? Was that softball or was that online playing?
It
Playing
was.
with
I think it
Solo?
was. I think it was softball
I think it
because our
was.
jerseys had our names, and mine said the Danimal, and you just would always cheer me on as yogurt. You'd always say yogurt.
Yogurt.
What can I say? You know, my mind just it goes in random places, and where it goes, it goes. So.
So Dan, man, I got let's go ahead and dive in, man. So obviously, you know that our show we speak about a lot of stuff, recovery, and again, recovery doesn't have to be from substance abuse. It can be from anything. Everybody's recovering from something, and so you've been a long time listener, which we most definitely appreciate that. We are so grateful for that, man. And if you feel comfortable, man, can you share with us, what you um what pulls you back, what brought you into listening to us, man? Like, what is something that you can relate with, that we may have touched on, or a specific episode, or what have you.
So, I was speaking a little bit with RJ about this yesterday, but like I've had some really good episodes that you guys have put out that have really just kind of captured me. Um, there's there's a couple of things. So I have so my father is actually a drug addict. I was always told it was heroin, but my experience with him is he probably did a lot of things. And then on my mom's side of the family, it's questionable whether or not several of them are alcoholics. And so I have both sides that are just kind of very much they have their struggles. Um, and so when I first started hearing about the show, I was very it was the start of the pandemic and everything, and so I had a lot of time on my hands while at work to just kind of listen to music, podcasts, whatever. And it was around the same time that I started seeing a therapist for some things, and she was recommending things to do in my downtime. One of those things was listening to a podcast by Dr. Brene Brown called Unlocking Us. And I started listening to all the episodes, whether or not it seemed to be something that fit me or not. And I found a lot of connections to, even if, even if I don't, I'm lucky and I don't have an issue with the substance, it's still, there's a message there, there's still wisdom there. And it was very much like a connection thing where it was like, a light bulb goes off and you start to hear these things from other people's perspectives, and it's incredibly helpful and uplifting, I think. So um I mean, that's kind of where I got started with the show. Originally recognized the names and I was like, hey, let's tune in, and end up finding this incredible message and heartfelt candor and stuff like that. So keeps
We
you coming
appreciate
back.
that. Well, we appreciate that, man. And first off, thank you for sharing that. It's never easy to talk about yourself, or any sort of challenges that you may have faced, or that you are facing, in front of people. So that takes a lot of courage, man. And we're very grateful, man. We really, really are. We wouldn't feel as comfortable sharing if we didn't have folks like yourself who listened and appreciated our content. So this is pretty awesome. It's very humbling for us. It really is.
And Dan comes from an interesting perspective too, because when we, uh, when we were roommates, I was at probably my heaviest stage of drinking. Like, maybe not heaviest, but I was definitely binging a lot. Like when we drank, I was gone every time.
Mm,
And so he's seen that personally, that perspective of myself, and now being where I am, and he was around when Ashley and I first started dating. So
okay.
there's it's a little bit of a difference here with between both of us, but um, going into it, talking about your dad being a user, uh, how has that affected
Mm.
you going into relationships, if you don't mind sharing?
I don't mind sharing at all. I honestly, so I've discovered, I've kind of walked this seemingly this balance beam between, if I talk about myself, am I being self-centered kind of thing. But every time I've posted something like really deep, on Facebook, Twitter, wherever it is, I get people who message me on the side and they're like, hey, I'm struggling and it's hard for me to talk about this, but it's really awesome to see you talk about this because it makes me feel like, hey, I'm not the only one fighting these battles.
Mhm.
Um, but to get to actually your question, so it's made things challenging from the standpoint in, when I was younger, there's a period of time where he was clean, or if he wasn't clean, he was at least high functioning. So I have good memories of him, and then he's just gone, basically he just drops off the face of the earth, kind of. And I was very from that for a very long time. Like I was always kind of like, if I sat there and thought about it, I was like, yeah, I don't really care, whatever.
Yeah.
And it was through therapy that I really kind of realized how much, um, on the surface level, it was how much anger was there. Um, both him and my mom have done certain things or not done certain things that were, left me feeling angry and disconnected, and like I had to separate myself away from everything, and justified it as I don't care. But um, it's something that I very recently through therapy was going through, where um, you know I have the Danimal persona, if you will, and how do people get past that? And it's like there are certain things where I saw, I see people who are struggling, and I want to, like, it's almost like I want to save them in a way, and it's because of my struggles with my dad, wishing that I had him there, from day one, and that he stayed, and he didn't. So it's been this long journey of trying to get to a healthy place myself, while also acknowledging the pain and the hurt that is there, and trying to find a way to move past it, I guess.
Wow. Well, man, wow. Well, we commend you, man. It seems like you've done a significant amount of self reflecting and understanding, who you are, understanding how far you've come, all the challenges that you had to overcome. It's not easy, man. It's most definitely not, and that's just remarkable that you feel comfortable sharing that information. It really is. Um,
I can't
so
wait to give you a
oh,
hug, Dan. I miss my hugs with you.
that's awesome, man. So
You do have some pretty nice hugs, that's for sure.
so therapy, man. I love therapy as well too. I'm a huge advocate for therapy. That really, really helped me. Really
Mhm.
helped me. Um, what is one of the trying to formulate this question here for you, put this together. Like throughout your therapeutic process, if someone right now was listening and had no idea what therapy was, or they just don't know what you don't know. They have no idea what that realm looks like. What is one thing that you would share with them, man, about therapy, like how it helped you?
So I guess the first thing is, it's important to acknowledge that everyone's journey with therapy can be different.
Mm,
But the thing that I would say the most accurate way to put it for me is, therapy has been my journey to connect with myself. Um,
ooh,
because there's these things that are locked inside your head, and it sounds silly to say it this way, because it's like, are you consciously doing it or not is irrelevant, but there's
mm,
things that you find. And my therapist practice is brain spotting. I don't know if you know what that is, but it's this idea that your brain, the way it holds information, is locked in certain, almost like literal locations, and so you'll focus
yeah.
on a spot, and then you start talking, and all of these things start coming up that you just totally forgot yourself. And so it's been this journey of reconnecting with myself and finding these pieces of information, and sitting across from someone who's listening to you, understanding what you're saying, and giving you these somehow perfect little nudges where they say the tiniest little thing, like, I would encourage you to feel this, or I think it's great that you acknowledge this, and it's just the simplest thing, and all of a sudden it just clicks in a different way. And it's, for me, it's been about connecting back with myself and really understanding, kind of why I make some of the decisions I make, because I don't always make the best decisions. And sometimes I would chalk it off as like, oh, I'm stupid, or I'm just an idiot, or I'm X, Y, and Z. But really, it's these underlying issues that you're trying to avoid hurt.
Mm. Mm.
I
Wow,
get
I
that.
mean,
I get
yeah,
that same kind of thing. Like, yeah, I'm glad that, you are going to therapy and having these revelations, because you are not a stupid person. Like, and as
no.
my oldest would say, that's a bad word. Okay. That's a bad word. We don't say stupid. All right. Um, but for real, like, you are, I know from personal experience how hard you are on yourself. And you are very hard on yourself. And I'm sure that does come from that place. Um, you know, how long have you been going to therapy, and how long did it take before you really started to open up? Because I think as men, that is
Mm.
something that we can kind of struggle with a little bit,
Well, you know me. I mean, we used to joke a long time ago that I was a girly man, because I was much more in tune with the emotions side of things, I guess. But I started going, so I think it was around maybe August of last year is when I like first started actually seeing someone. I had been kind of looking off and on to speak to someone, and it's a challenging process. It's not easy. Um, and I was very lucky that the first person I reached out to, she's very, very good. It works. We work together really, really well.
Good.
But I think it was August. Um, and it's weird. I don't have any issues like opening up and telling the story right away. It's like where the story connects, and like really like where I get to like really break down and feel it, kind of thing. So I had no problems like telling her stories right away, but it was the thing that was shocking to me was I went into it going, I'm going to go in here and I'm going to have this person help me with my my issues with my mother and my father. And we spent a great deal of time talking about other things that I was, again, burying and not realizing how much they were affecting me on a day to day. Um,
Yeah,
it's all connected, but yeah.
I hear you, man. It's an incredible process. And when I think about therapy, it's literally, it's like you said, reconnecting with yourself. But in order to get there, you got to peel back the layers. Like an onion, understand who you are on a very deep level. Um, and throughout that process, yeah, you understand your daily triggers. You understand maybe some past experiences that you really haven't emotionally worked through, um, which kind of just sits there in the back of your mind, and as you stated, can be affecting you daily, and you don't even realize it. Um, it's an awesome process, and again, man, I think this speaks volumes about who you are as a person to be able to come on here and share this stuff, because as RJ stated, it's not as encouraged for men to talk about our feelings, and especially talk about them. You said you're speaking to a woman, correct? A woman therapist? And maybe that presents another, difficult aspect to it as well too, because us men, I don't know why it is in our American culture, us sharing our feelings, and then especially sharing our feelings to women, is just not something that we feel comfortable doing. So, if there was somebody listening to you right now, Danimal, You know, can you share with them what's the one thing that you've gained since you started back in August?
Um, my love of life. I mean, it was always there. I always had things I love to see people laugh, smile, succeed, whatever. But my sort of desire to be an active participant in life was kind of not there. In fact, in if I can get really honest, in January of 2020, um, I was in a very toxic relationship. We were both not good for each other at all, and I had basically gotten to a point where I was at my wit's end, and there was no thought whatsoever. I grabbed a bunch of sleeping pills, I grabbed a bottle of wine, and I left the house. And I was like, I don't know what's going to happen. I need this all to stop. And speaking with this therapist, like months after that, I was just very disconnected and sort of autopilot. I just get up, I go to work, I come home, I sleep. I get up, I go to work, I come home, I sleep. I don't think, I don't feel, I don't anything. And having this therapist, all of a sudden I was like, wait a minute, like, no, I love people. I want to be out there helping people. I want to be out there enjoying life. I want to be out there with my friends. I want to be out there doing these things. And it was like, all of a sudden it felt very empowering to be like, no, the Danimal's still here. He's not going anywhere, you know?
Let's go. Let's go. We need you, man. We need you. We need you, man. RJ needs you. You need yourself. Um, those loved ones around you need you, man. Um, and most importantly, yeah, you need your own happiness. So that's it's a blessing, man. We're so glad to have you here with us today.
Hey, Danimal. Dan.
Hmm?
Dan.
Yeah.
I love you. I'm glad you're
I love you, Jobin.
Did you just say Jobin? You know, I'm very glad that you're sharing your story, because it is powerful, and
Yeah.
it is a different side of recovery that we don't see, that we don't, and we're talking about not just you're dealing with your family's alcoholism or your dad's substance dependency, but like talking about your mental health as well, getting that in order. And I could just tell, like, when you and I have been texting, or when we were talking yesterday in that PlayStation party, like, you are in a better place. Or like when you called me to talk about your current job, like, you know, it's just you're not taking everything upon yourself. Like, you're starting to let go of the stuff that you can't control, which is that's an amazing place to be, man. Like, that's something that I struggle with as well. That I think a lot of people in today's world struggle with. We take a lot of stuff and try to think that we can change it ourselves. So I'm glad that you're not adding that stress to yourself anymore. That makes me happy.
Absolutely. I agree.
So you used to live in Madison, and
Yeah.
you don't anymore. Do you think that getting out of here and starting fresh was something that helped with your mental health ultimately?
It was, yeah, it was a huge thing.
Mm.
There was a lot of changes that happened all at once, really fast, that ultimately were the best decisions. Um, I had been for basically 4 years straight sleeping about 2 to 3 hours a night. I don't ask me how I was operating, because I don't know. And as soon as I got out of Madison, out of the place that I was in, where it was just a cycle of I hate this, I hate me, I hate this, I hate me, just cycle, cycle, cycle. I remember getting out here in Watertown, and I think for like about 2 months straight, I think I slept like 16 hours a day, and I just remember being like, just it was just such a strange thing. It was almost like I after like a month or so, I kind of woke up one day and I was like, what is this? I feel light. I feel good. I feel, what is happening, and so it's one of those things that I see people all over Facebook, wherever, and I see people talk about being in toxic relationships, toxic situations, and I always am like, man, it is so hard to recognize those things when you're in them and get yourself out of them at the same time. Like, I I don't know how people do it on their own. I certainly felt like I had a lot of help. I had a lot of people in my corner constantly being like, hey, this is bad. Like, come stay here. Come stay here. Like, it was nuts. But getting out of that situation, getting away from things it just made a world of difference.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. It's at some point, yeah, you got to remove yourself from certain situations, maybe from certain areas, in order to reconnect with yourself. Sometimes life's pitfalls, the temptations get the best of you, and just cloud your judgment.
Hmm.
That was me for sure. Hindsight being 2020, how the heck did I not see this toxic relationship? More so from myself. I was a very toxic person. Um, but it's just therapy, man.
Mm.
Therapy, therapy. So today, Danimal, what helps you today outside of therapy, man? What keeps Danimal grounded? What keeps you with reconnecting with yourself, man? Keeps you waking up in the morning and feeling refreshed, man.
Uh,
Other than coffee.
Dean.
Speaking of the
Wow.
heart.
Uh, so I'm in a much better relationship now. I'm with someone who confuses me daily, just how patient and understanding she is, honestly. So that is obviously a massive,
Mm,
massive change. Going to that from someone who would repeatedly tell you how terrible of a human being you are is definitely one thing that helps. But having sort of that loving situation to be in and being able to reconnect with, like, I'll hang out with some of my friends. Like, we went out for my birthday, we went to the Dells
okay.
and just like went on water slides and stuff. And having every one of those people there, like, one-on-one conversations just to talk to them about how they were doing. Like remembering that that's something that I love to do, is just connect with someone one-on-one and just, be like a safe space for them. That's what I love to do. I don't know why. Having
Uh,
the idea that I can go out there and just be something to somebody
mhm.
is amazing.
Absolutely. I think we're going to end this show early because we didn't get an invitation to that. But no, no, I'm
It
kidding.
was a surprise for me, if that's anything.
I'm kidding, man. I'm kidding. That's awesome, man. Pretty cool stuff. What you got, RJ?
um, Having those conversations and being able to have a normal, friendly conversation, and probably what felt like the first time in years. What did that take you back to? Like, not just remembering that you like to connect with people, but like, did it take you back to high school or, a different place where you loved yourself?
Um, I guess it did kind of bring me back to um, my relationship with my grandmother, my dad's mom. Um, just a delightful human being who's just so happy and so adorable, and she's always bending over backwards for people. But just having that one-on-one interaction with her, where you felt like no matter what, she was there and she loved you, like, no matter what. um
I've
and
met your
just
grandma, and I almost forgot whose grandmother she was when she was there. So, can confirm all this is true.
um I've discussed this particular aspect of like talking with people one-on-one with my therapist, and she was like, I don't remember exactly how she put it, but she was like, how do you feel right now? And it was like, I feel like I'm on the top of the world. Like I can do anything I want right now. And she was like, she was very, very subtle, very deliberate, and I know exactly what she was getting at, but she was like, do you see, I would I would encourage you to see how much more wonderful your tank feels, your love tank feels on full than it does on empty. And I would encourage you to explore that, and it was very much, my gas tank full of, which is supposed to be full of love, was full. And it's a very big change from when it's running on empty, so I like to think of it like that.
Okay.
I love that metaphor. That's a good one.
Yeah. I'm sitting here letting that soak in because I'm saying, man,
That's a nugget.
it is. It really is, because you can fill that tank with toxicity, or just being on social media too much, or things that aren't progressing your life. Um, but being able to stand back and realize that, and flush it and fill it with stuff, feel alive, is a very, very important thing to do. Love the metaphor, love it. Um, some pretty important topics here, and usually we do not chime in with the chat, but I do want to address this real quick with Nebula. So Dan the Man, Nebula stated,
This is Danimal.
oh, excuse me, Danimal. Yeah, Danimal in the chat. Nebula stated, "It's cool to go out and see what fun you can have sober when you used to think like, whoa, what am I going to do to relax when I hang out with people now? How am I even going to enjoy myself without this? I don't know how to do." How does one go about enjoying being around folks? Because let's be honest, here in American society, um, every single facet of life, that being entertainment. Let me rephrase that. All leisure, entertainment, social gatherings, there's alcohol. What would you share with this person, Danimal? Hate to put you on the spot, but how does this individual go about enjoying life without drinking in sober atmospheres? Or excuse me, in drinking atmospheres.
That is a good question. That's very challenging. I spent many years. I didn't have a drink until I was 21.
I'm sorry.
That,
That's my
that's
fault.
just the life I led.
That's my fault
Oh man.
that I started drinking.
I've been very blessed and very lucky that I've never felt that I needed
Hey!
to have those things. But it is very challenging when you're in a situation. I think, especially one that can come with some measure of uncomfortability. Like if you're someone who's um, struggles in group settings and being in like sort of an extroverted situation, it can be hard. And having that lubricant definitely can
Yeah.
be sort of a buffer. But the thing that helped me go from someone who thinks of himself as an introvert but succeeds in extroverted situations. The best way I can describe it is being a young kid in elementary school. Whenever you had to present something and get in front of the class, I was one of those kids who was like, shied. I didn't want to do this because I was so nervous. And then there was one day where I just said, you know what? If I just go first,
Yeah.
I don't have to sit there and feel so nervous all the time. And I take that approach now all the time. We were meeting someone, a friend was introducing us to their girlfriend, and I could see the situation was sort of awkward, meeting new people, being like the new person. And so it was awkward for me because I didn't want to say the wrong thing, but I wanted them to feel welcome. And so now the way I approached it is, I just, like last night, I just blurted out. So I was like, so tell us a story about yourself. Tell us something, just you break that ice, you be the person who kind of opens up right away. And it just like, it kind of eases the mood, and all of a sudden everyone's like, okay, you know, like,
Yeah.
if you, it's difficult, but if you can get yourself to a place where you're like, hey, you know what, if I just let this go for just a second, you know, I don't have to worry about it. You know, I don't have to feel so nervous. I don't have to feel these things. It's okay if you do, but you don't have to be stuck in that.
That's true. That's a great answer to it as well. Hopefully, I asked that question correctly, but that's what it is. That is what it is for sure.
I know.
That's
So, all right, what do you do on your free time to help you relax? What do you help de-stress yourself now that you're out of, you know, you don't have your all that toxicity, and you can find some space to maybe get that weight off your shoulders that you used to feel constantly.
yeah. I love that. Love that. Yeah, man. How do you unplug?
Obviously, video games are a big part of it. I do play a lot of video games. I put an excessive amount of emphasis on movies and TV shows and the characters and the stories told in there. Um, I love experiencing life through other lenses. You know, unplugging from my life, but not disconnecting from it. But unplugging from my day to day and just experiencing storytelling somewhere else is what I do. It's just how I love to unplug.
Speaking of storytelling, speaking of storytelling, are we getting into it? Are we getting into it?
All right, let's get into it.
Let's get into it. We're at the 45-minute mark, so let's go ahead and jump right into it. So, speaking of storytelling, which still goes with exactly what we were sharing today, what you were just stating, you know, how do you unplug? You know, just unplug from from work, from you know, thinking about the next day of work, many other stressors, but not disconnecting from your life. Storytelling, movies, the animal. Right now, on the spot, I want you to share with everybody what your favorite movie is, and that may not even be a DC or Marvel movie. But then also, I want you to share, if it is not, what is your favorite DC film?
Um, my favorite movie from the year 1999 until the year 2016, so about 17 years, my favorite movie was The Matrix.
I
In the
can't
year
disagree with that.
in the year 2016, my favorite movie became Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice.
Let's go.
And you know what's the most funny about this thing is the reason I love that movie so much, or one of the reasons I love that movie so much, is 100% because RJ made me go see Man of Steel with him in 2013. If he had never made me go see that movie, I would have never started on this love affair that I have with those films. But
And your
it
bromance with Henry Cavill,
dude,
Bro, he's the best Superman.
listen,
He's the best Superman.
I love him as an actor so much. I love him as Superman so much that a friend of mine, as a joke, got me a blanket that is just a picture of Henry Cavill. It's on my bed every night. I don't.
It's awesome.
But no,
Oh no, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's 100% Batman v Superman. It's my favorite movie.
Gotcha. Well, let's take a step back real quick. Let's talk about the Matrix first, real fast, and then we could dive into Batman v Superman. So the Matrix, obviously, for the folks who don't know what the Matrix is, Keanu Reeves.
Lawrence Fishburne.
Yep, Lawrence Fishburne for sure. Good old Neo. How would you explain the Matrix to somebody? So obviously, our technology has taken over, that being AI, and they're using us humans as pretty much batteries, and we don't know it. They've put us in pretty much an incubator tank in a sense, and they are feeding us an artificial reality.
It's the
And
simulation
Neo,
theory. You could just
yeah,
describe it as
and
that.
Neo, and Neo,
We're
because of
living in
Lawrence
a
Fishburne.
simulation.
Lawrence Fishburne speaks to Neo via computer. Neo wakes up from the Matrix, and then I'll stop there for folks who may not have seen it. So Dan the Man. Well, I guess we can Danimal. Excuse me, I keep saying Dan the Man. Dan the Man. Danimal. My apologies, Dan the Man. Danimal. Let's go ahead and just throw some spoilers out there. It's been forever. If you haven't seen it, shame on you. Why is that, man? Why was that your favorite movie?
Well, as a young kid, it was my favorite movie because it was visually stunning. You know, I loved seeing the martial arts on film. I'm a sucker for this hero at the center of it all who can do anything. Yeah. I think it might be some stuff related to my dad, like the guy who has all of these powers and can overcome everything. Like, you know, I just like that story. So I'm a sucker for that story. But yeah. As I got older and I started to watch it and I really started to actually understand what was happening, the story is actually really good. Something that the second and third movies get a lot of, you know, grief for is being very drawn out and not very good. And I recently, I would say in the last 2-3 years, have rewatched 2 and 3, and I remember thinking, like, man, like this story was way ahead of its time, you know. It just the story that's going on there, just the good versus evil, but the way it's all wrapped up in a bow for you is just it's just a great, you know, message too at the very end. Like if you want to go with spoilers, when the ultimate showdown at the end is Neo versus, you know, basically his inverse and Agent Smith, and he's losing the fight, and he keeps getting up, and in this computer simulation, this rampant thing, and Agent Smith can't wrap its head around why he keeps getting up only to get defeated, and he just says, you know, why do you persist, why do you continue to go? And he looks at him and he just says, because I choose to. You know, and it's just such a wonderful moment, I thought. So
it is my favorite moment from the trilogy. It's what Morpheus said whenever Neo started to believe. He's like, well, what is he doing? And then Morpheus like, try to get my voice very deep here. He's beginning to believe. Love that movie, man. I gotta agree with you on that. The Matrix is an awesome movie. Kind of like the whole Terminator thing, AI taking over. It's not exactly like Terminator, but AI taking over. I love that stuff. I love that stuff because, don't let me get into my conspiracies, the way that AI has jumped in the last 10 years, it's taken off to where it can become uncontrollable. I'm just going to leave it like that.
Allegedly.
But, allegedly, yeah.
MC squared over here.
We know the direction it's going with AI. Come on, not necessarily taking over Skynet or
let's get to the realness. Let's get to the realness. All right, Matrix is a good movie. We can all agree.
Yes.
Batman versus Superman is a follow-up to Man of Steel.
Look,
it's a phenomenal movie.
Danimal and Mons have opinions.
It's a phenomenal movie. Man versus. Let's let Danimal explain it. Danimal,
listen,
why?
I sat and listened to a 3-hour plot synopsis of Man of Steel through Justice League, and if what Dan explained to me was how the actual movies turned out, I would love those movies. I'm just gonna put it like that.
The thing,
why is Batman vs Superman so great? Because I agree with you.
It's a journey. There's so many things in there. Like, look, the character of Superman to me was never very compelling. It wasn't until Zack Snyder touched the character with Henry Cavill that all of a sudden I went, wait a minute, hold on. There's so much more to this character than just super powerful alien who can blow up a planet. You know, it was very much about the thematics going on in the background, just the, you know, I have the ability to save humanity, but do they, you know, do I trust them with that? And do I, you know, lay down my life for these people? And the thing you need to know about the way that Zack Snyder was building that universe is he had a 5-movie story arc plan, and it is all on display at a place somewhere. Like you can see exactly where his story was going. So he had it all planned out. And the thing that people didn't like is that the way the story started is in this like potentially dark place, and people are like, I don't like this. I don't want this. It should just be immediate payoff, right? It should just be, oh, this is just the character from the comic books, which is to me very boring. But he had a very long process to get there, which is funny because people get mad that DC didn't take the long process Marvel did, but they also didn't want to stick around for that journey at the same time. It is a challenging thing to get in because it is a shift from what you may expect from the characters. But if I can just give you one small example out of the whole plethora of things, you take a scene from Man of Steel where Clark as a small child is in the classroom and he's freaking out because he's hearing everything, he's seeing everything, and he can't control it. And so he sprints out of there and he runs and he hides in a closet, and his mom shows up and he's freaking out, and he says, "The world's too big, Mom." And then she says to him, "Then make it small." And then you take the scene in Batman v Superman, sorry, spoilers if anyone cares.
So awesome. I love
He realizes as Doomsday is destroying everything and it can't be stopped, he's the only one who can do it. And he looks at Lois and he says, hold on a second. He says, "I love you. You are my world." He says, "This is my world. You are my world." And then to have the follow-up when he comes back in Zack Snyder's Justice League. We're not going to talk about the 2017 version. And he's on the farm, the twilight of the sun shining on him, and he's got both his mother and Lois, and he's hugging them. He made his world small. He can now save everyone because his world right there is small. You just take that journey step by step, and there's an amazing payoff if you just have patience,
Yeah, that is beautifully put, man. Because I agree with you. When I watch Man of Steel, when I watch Batman vs Superman, I think uh they just did a great job. Zach did a great job of allowing for us to dive into the psyche of Superman. I agree with you. I don't think that was ever been addressed or ever been portrayed in a sense, other than just this obviously this alien L who you just can't defeat. Saves everybody. Touch a little bit on his life, his relationship with his mother, etc. But that's his Earth mom. That's about it. But I think they did a great job of really showing us that even though he's a god and technically unstoppable, untouchable, he still has his own battles internally, as in where he came from. Who, obviously his birth parents to his Earth parents. It's a beautiful story. Beautiful story. Then Batman v Superman, you really get to see the psyches of both characters. I always like to view it as that 6-9 approach, sitting across this table. The 6 can look like a 9 to you, and it looks like a 6 to me. But essentially, it's the same thing. So what I'm saying is they were fighting for really the same exact thing, but from their perspectives, they believe that it was different. So that's just what I love about the Batman v Superman.
That is one thing that I think Batman v Superman did really well in the actual version that Zack put out before they cut it for theatrical reasons. But that is something that a lot of people had a difficult time with was the character of Batman in that film, how dark he was, how quick he was to kill. Roger's one of those people.
It wasn't that it was how dark he was. It was, you're right. It was how quick he was to kill. Like, he has been dark. Like, one of the best Batman comics is The Dark Knight Returns. And in that one, he breaks legs, he breaks bones, he mangles people. But he's technically... He still doesn't kill. Right. But in this movie, he killed willy-nilly.
But he's technically like a detective, though, right? It's the different Batman. It's Detective Batman, correct? It's the one where...
I mean, he's always been the world's greatest detective. He's not generally, like, there's a couple movies where he does do the detective work, but in most movies, he's more just like the crime fighter. So, like, the very essence of Batman is he does not kill. And then his battle with Joker and why they're so great is Joker wants him to break that rule. Joker wants him to kill him. That's why those battles are so tough. So like, break legs, break arms, mangle people, like set them on fire. Like that's kind of honestly a different Batman that could be a little bit fun that Snyder could have explored. But when he let him kill like constantly, that's when it's like, okay, I can't get behind this. I'm sorry, I can't.
You need to understand where that Batman is. You need to understand where that Batman is. You can't. The thing that you need to do immediately, and I'm just fully gonna say this: if you go into Batman v Superman and you take any of your experience with Batman from any of the Christopher Nolan films, that's incorrect. You can't do it. You can't do it.
Right.
You literally can't. The one thing that you need to be able to understand about this Batman is a Batman who's old. He's been doing things that way, not killing, not doing those things for decades, and it has literally gotten him nowhere. The character is supposed to be he's lost hope, and Superman's supposed to be the character that restores hope. And so there's a scene that's in the theatrical, and if you don't know the comics, you just don't get this. This is the one thing that I wish they would have explored a little bit, and maybe they would have done it in future films. But there's the scene where he's walking through the cave, and there's a suit, and there's paint on it. It says, "Haha, joke's on you, Batman."
That's the Jason Todd.
And so everyone knows, oh, that's something to do with the Joker. But what they don't tell you is that was a Robin, a version of the Robin. And actually, Zach said that his Robin was Dick Grayson, even though it's Jason Todd that was beaten to death. But you need to know that Robin was beaten to death. And there's actually a scene in Zack Snyder's Justice League where the Joker and him have an interaction, and he says, you need to tell these people why you sent a boy wonder to do a man's job. Like, and it's just like a little nod. He does these little things where it's like he sent this adoptive son to go take care of the Joker and ended up losing that adoptive son. Yeah. And he's supposed to be a character that has lost hope in humanity, and Superman of all people restores it.
I got a question for you, man.
But that
really,
the thing is that character exists in comics, right? In the Dark Knight Returns, and he still doesn't kill people. Well, I mean,
he kills Superman in there. Just so we're clear, he does kill.
Returns.
He kills in one version of the comics where he goes around and they're both really old. He kills Superman.
Mm-hmm.
And he says to him, "I want you to know that it was me who did this." He's very dark. He's very, very dark.
Yes.
Got a question for you, man. Got a question for you. Christian Bale or Ben Affleck?
Two different Batmen, two different stories.
I respect it.
Yes, Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck. I'm sorry.
Ben Affleck is a good Batman. Like, I want to put that out there right now. He is a good Bruce Wayne, and the way that he plays that Batman is awesome. If he killed the one person at the very end, like that would have made the movie like, oh, like it was the choice between killing that person or letting Martha die. And because he killed so many people before that, that choice was null and void. Like, he was going to kill him anyway. So, like, that could have created such an impactful movie moment had he not killed so many people before that. That's why I was disappointed in the way that Batman was portrayed in that movie.
That fight scene was sweet when he was in that warehouse, incredible. The grenades, and I was like, that was awesome. That was awesome.
It was a good fight scene, yeah.
See, I know you didn't like Lex Luthor either.
Me?
Isn't that what you said? You didn't like, I always forget his name.
Jesse Eisenberg? I thought Jesse Eisenberg was a fine Lex Luthor.
Okay. I liked it too. I liked him as that role as well.
Especially with having the Snyder's Justice League and that ending actually making more sense than it did with Joss Whedon's Justice League. So it's unreal to me how much Joss Whedon really changed that movie. Like, I can't even believe that they thought that they'd get away with that.
It's night and day. He relegated, I told you guys this already, but he relegated important characters of Cyborg and Flash to sideline shows. and they had there's look, I'm gonna tell you right now, you need to watch the Snyder cut and get through the Cyborg backstory. If you're not sitting there feeling something, I mean, tears in my eyes, man. I'll be honest with you, it makes me cry.
Yeah.
It's so good. It's so good.
I gotta check it out. So Nebula in the chat real quick. I don't think we have seen the best Batman yet. I used to think Christian was the best, but I've gotten a lot older and I disagree with myself now. Nebula, Animal, are you excited? RJ as well. Are you excited for Robert Pattinson playing Batman?
Honestly, yeah. No, it looks good. It looks good. Robert Pattinson has the unfortunate stigma of he was once a vampire attached to his name, but if you watch him in anything other than that, he is really good. He's really good.
If you watch him in Tenet, it's like, all right, I'll watch this person do that. Here's what I'll say about this, and this gets me excited. When Heath Ledger was cast as Joker, everybody was up in arms. How can you How can you cast the guy in 10 Things I Hate About You? How can you cast the guy from, whatever? Like, there's no way he's going to be a good Joker. He'll never live up to Jack Nicholson. And then, obviously, he delivered one of the greatest performances in cinematic history. But honestly, like, he was amazing. And there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like, what he did, he made that movie. He made Christopher Nolan's Batverse. Like,
and the crazy part about it, he was only on screen for 9 minutes or something like that.
Maybe
something very little. I mean, if you think about the movie,
but
it's one of the greatest performances ever.
That's why I'm okay with. I want to wait and see what Robert Pattinson does as Batman, and I'm kind of excited when I hear about it. And they're going with the Riddler, and they're kind of doing a different version of Riddler, like something that it's not going to be like the gaudy, dressed up like Riddler. It's going to be the smartest man alive Riddler, and that could be really, really, really cool. And I want to see it before I judge it. So it's going to be very dark. It's going to be very dark. It's going to be darker. It's going to be darker than the Nolan movies, and it might be darker than Batman vs Superman. Like it's going to get dark, I think.
I think it could be really good because I think what they're going to do is they understand, I guess from my opinion, the greatest superhero movies or whatever you want to call them,
Captain America 2,
they have amazing villains.
Yeah.
So I think they really have to focus in and dial in on the Riddler. And I think if they make the Riddler dark, some very dark jokes, not obviously not crude or anything along those lines, but I think that they can really just capture the moment.
And if you look at it, like the best comic book villains, the best villains, period, are the ones who have humanity behind them, that you can understand their position, aka Killmonger and Thanos, honestly. But Killmonger to me is like number one. You understand where he's coming from. You understand what he's trying to do, and a little bit of you is like, yeah, he kind of does need to succeed. Yep.
You understand his anger. It's like, wait, you can't share this technology with the rest of us,
right?
But you call yourselves, you pat yourselves on the back. I love it. So, Danimal, what's the next film you're excited for, man?
They're going to get me with the Flash film that's currently in production. The director, Andy Muschietti, has come out and said that they're directly connecting it to Zack Snyder's vision, which could just be a ploy by WB to get us to all go see it. But the way the Snyder Cut is concluded, there is an incredible Flash moment, one that you did not get in 2017, and it is so frustrating that they just took it out. And because of that one moment, what they did cinematically with the Flash, I will go see this film. And I hope that they don't disappoint me and make a Marvel clone, because I don't go to DC to watch Marvel. If I want to watch Marvel, I watch Marvel.
Agreed.
But that's the next film I'm really looking forward to.
Agreed. Agreed.
What about, is there a new video game coming out that you're excited to play? Because we've talked about how video games too, like story-based video game too. I know that you love the Destiny lore, but we don't have time to get into Destiny lore right now. Is there any game like that you're looking forward to coming out that's
uh,
unannounced?
there's quite a few games I'm looking forward to coming out. Halo Infinite being one of them.
Mm.
Tiny Tina's Wonderlands being
Mhm.
another. I love the character Tiny Tina. She's hilarious. But this game already came out, and I finally have the ability to play it, and it's just
Oh,
sitting on my PS5. And I have these two friends of mine who do this podcast, and they would not stop talking about this game, The Last of Us. So I really have to try it out.
I'm excited
Um,
for you. I'm excited for you.
Dude, listen to me.
You're gonna have tears in your eyes.
Oh my gosh. You're talking about storytelling, Danimal? Listen, man. I have never, and I'm not exaggerating. And to anybody who doesn't know what we're talking about a video game called The Last of Us. I mean, we've talked about it thousands of times on the podcast. It's won pretty much every single video game award you can think of. And for me, Daniel, I've never played a game that has had such an impact on my life. I mean, since the day I turned it on, which was back in June of last year. And then obviously the second one came out the following month. So I was able to tackle the second one as well. And you were in for a treat, my friend. That is one of the greatest stories that I have ever experienced. And that is not an exaggeration. I'm excited for you, man. Whenever you do beat the first one, we're gonna have to bring you on. We're gonna have to
Spoiler
bring you back,
cast.
man. Yeah, it's been what since 2013 for the first one. So if you
As
haven't
long as you
played it,
call it a spoiler cast, it's okay. You can talk about whatever
that's
you
true.
want.
That's true. That's true. But I'm looking forward to as soon as you finish the first one, man. Shoot RJ a text, and we're bringing you back. Um,
I'll get started on it.
you're gonna love it, man. I promise you, you're gonna love it. Um, in the chat, Nebula Monte, if you dig Leto, I can never say his last name, Jared Leto. You need to watch Mr. Nobody. I think I've heard that. But anyways, um, we covered a lot, man. Covered a
Animal,
lot.
thank you for your honesty, your vulnerability, telling your
Yeah, man.
story. It it is important. You know,
Yeah,
a lot of people are gonna benefit from that, and
they have in
can't
the
thank you
chat.
enough. And people wanted to keep up with you. Where could they go?
I am on Twitter at IOutlawTorn. I'm on Facebook, Dan Clark. I think I'm in the Facebook group for Untapped Keg. You can find me there too.
Yep.
I occasionally stream on Twitch at IOutlawTorn. I don't do it a lot because I don't have much time anymore. But when I do, I like to just have some fun on there. So
You dabble a
Okay.
little bit. You dabble.
Heck yeah, man. And again, I echo exactly what RJ stated. Thank you, man. Thank you. We've received great feedback. You've received great feedback, man, from the chat, from folks listening in on you. Um, they really appreciated everything that you shared, and so do we.
I think
I
the
just
most important question that hasn't been asked yet, and I'm excited for the answer personally. When's the next time I'm gonna get to hug you? It's time. It has been too long.
I don't know, man.
I need to feel the Danimal between my arms.
I'll
It's
clear
gonna be like that.
clear
You
my
know that
schedule.
video? You know the video of the black kid and the white kid, and they're like running. Obviously, you both white kids are running.
Yep, that's exactly what it's gonna be like. Yeah, just thank you for being on this. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'll hit you up. I'm excited for you to start The Last of Us. I want to say it's a 12-hour game. So,
Oh,
yeah,
I love it.
yeah, it's about 12 hours, I think. But the one piece of advice I will give you is explore, read everything, because those are some of the stories that'll stick with you the most. So,
And those sides for sure. Yep.
and then, yeah, If anybody wants to catch us on Tap Keg everywhere, where can they find you, Mons?
Yes, you guys can find me at Monteball28 on Twitter, Monteball on Instagram. Obviously, our Untapped Keg pages as well. Send us topics, questions, what have you. Ask to come on, and we'll bring you on, as we love to just give people the floor. RJ, where can they find you?
The best places are going to be Untapped Keg. Just find us on any social media, and we'll hit you up, talk back to you. You can talk about anything, just DM us. DMs are open on anything, and we will respond. So
Talk
otherwise,
about Aaron Rodgers leaving the Packers. But I'm sorry,
we'll
go
see.
ahead.
We'll see.
RJ, what were you saying?
Maybe it'll happen, maybe not. I'll believe it when it happens. You know what? Thank you everybody for being here. Thank you for listening. Let's see here. Danimal's handle is I Outlaw Torn.
Put that in the chat for them.
Yep.
Man, you got people asking to follow you, man.
We love you. We love you all.
Jenny said, great stream. Thank you guys so much. Danimal, you take care of yourself, man. Have yourself a great day, great week, great month, great year, man. And let us know once you get through that game, okay?
You guys take care.
Sweet,
I
man.
love you.
I love you.
We'll see you, everybody. See you next week.
All right.